Progress. I do like it so. And we have a dry walkway. Hot water, wood chipper, a guy obsessed with writing books. Right. Squeemeister, welcome back to the stream and the chat here. It's great to have you back. Let's listen to the music here for a bit. Is that stone or is it something inside the stone? Maybe it's just carved out of the stone. Okay. What do I do with that? It might go in here. Okay. And I'm thinking I'm gonna have to transport it someplace? Uh-huh. There's a counterweight here. Okay, well, let's... What is this thing? This might be the mechanism for this. Okay. One thing after the other. There are nails in here. Seems like a short walk, where the cart and trek really needed. Gehn must be lazy. I guess so, yeah. Maybe these things are really heavy, but we're having no trouble picking them up, so... Maybe Gehn's just weak. Right, okay. There are two levers here. I can do this and I can do this. Let's try this first. Uh-huh. Whee! Off we go. This is really a bit much for this little ball of stone. That boulder. Being extra just runs in the family. You're not wrong there. Right, I think we're going up. No, we're not. Son of a thing. You stop. I made a boo-boo. That was wrong. Okay, now what? No, keep the ball there. How do I get that up there with me being part of the getting up there? Or do I not need to be part of it? Perhaps I just send it up there like this. And I need to find another way up there? Didn't you notice another lever on the thing just a second ago? I did. I just thought I was mistaken about that. Let's see if somebody took the rock. No, it's still there. Okay. So maybe let's actually try that lever. This one right there. Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. Ooh, I see. That had to compute for a second in my brain. But it did compute. That's the main part. Okay, let's bring this with for extra protection. Maybe I can do a Kamehameha with it or something. There's something around here. I'm guessing maybe it goes there. Oh, no, close that. Don't let that thing escape. It scares me. It's gone. Okay. We've seen these before at the first rotatey puzzle thing, where we found out that you had to use the lens to figure out the position. So maybe these are frog traps. There are more frogs here, only less lively. I'm thinking they're just sleeping. Right, so what about my ball? Can't put it there. Ooh, I can't put it here. Okay, we're about to learn something here. And I think we already learned something here too. What's the point of the frogs though? I'm just clicking around to see if I can manipulate anything else here, but it doesn't appear to be the case. Everything's so shiny. Ooh. Is this reading time? I think it's reading time. 6. 7. I don't know. This is a 4, I think, and this is 3, so it's 34, 6, 7? But the others were 18, I think. Started with 18, so that would be... Well, I don't know the dating here, so that's a moot point. Anyway, let's read. I've been cataloging the natural elements of this age for many years now, yet I still continue to find evidence of the number of 5. Yet I still continue to find evidence of the number 5. What sort of evidence of a number? 5 is a number, yes? Okay. As a boy, it was very clear to me that it held a place of special significance in the Dunny society. From the ancient heraldic emblems of the ruling elite to the humble homes of the commoners, it was ubiquitous. Its presence here is clearly a direct reflection of the minds that authored the texts I used to compose this age. Further proof that through their art the Dunny masters were indeed creating the marvelous worlds they wrote, and not, as many have mistakenly thought, merely forging links to pre-existing worlds. While all of my ages have been based on Dunny designs, I see now that the ones most vested with the power of 5 are also the most beautiful, the most perfect, and, undoubtedly, the most structurally sound. Who's writing this? I'm not getting Atrocious vibes. I think this might have been Gehn. I still have yet to determine how the Dunny colors symbology reflects this superior design principle. While ostensibly a 6-color system, I'm convinced that there must be some deeper connection to the number 5. We'll continue to investigate. I don't know that word, I'm sorry. The Whiterem traps have been particularly fruitful this year. Apparently, the breakup of the island has not adversely affected the subterranean ecosystems. Unfortunately, I imagine the rebels are also experiencing a generous harvest. No shortage of poison for their darts this season. Such vexing issues aside, this unexpected windfall has allowed me to refine a particularly pleasant extract for my pipe, one that is smoother than any other in recent memory. All the journals in this game are handwritten instead of making a handwritten font. The artist had to practice different handwriting styles for different characters. Yeah. Could have practiced a bit more so I had a better time reading them. No, I'm just jesting here. I've reluctantly decided to suspend my inquiries into the unusual behavior of the water of this age, as there are more pressing matters that now demand my attention. For future reference, however, my investigations have revealed the following. I believe the remarkable properties of the water to be caused by a microbe that resides within it. I never knew this. I don't think I read this as a kid because it... Who reads as a kid? I'm imagining a motile? Don't know that word. Unicellular, or is it molecular? Motile. Unicellular organism. But one with a structure that allows it to manipulate bits of water, the aggregate effect of which is that the composite body of water is able to deform itself in response to threatening conditions. Prolonged exposure to extreme heat, a period of extended boiling for example, seems to kill them off, which would explain their dramatic aversion to even moderate rises in temperature. There is still much to learn, however, regarding this peculiar phenomenon and its possible issues, or uses. So, I remarked earlier that there was a heating source at the bottom of one of those bubbles we were in, where the submarine just went away from us. And that seems to confirm this theory that they don't like the heat. Construction of the imagers has proceeded without fault. Remarkable how easy it was to adapt the Dunny technology to mimic that of the Amad. Those cultures must surely have crossed paths at some point in their histories. The two cultures, now I get that word, sorry. I'm having a bit of trouble reading this. It may even be that Kida was a direct descendant of the Dunny. How else to explain the redemptive depth of our connection? But that's all pointless now. I'm gonna take a photograph of this. Maintenance, I'm gonna take another photograph. Maintenance on the steam vent caps completed. I'm extremely pleased with the continued success of the system. Another example of the superiority of Dunning technology. Ironic that Atrocious and Catherine's wedding unwillingly provided me with such a convenient source of power. Okay, so that's confirmation that it's not Atrocious at least. I'm certain now that the fissure was an unexpected byproduct of the changes they wrote into this age as part of their machinations to trap me here. Meddling. Oh, meddling, not wedding. I'm sorry. That gives this a completely different meaning. Ironic that Atrocious and Catherine's meddling unwillingly provided me with such a convenient source of power. Okay. Makes more sense too. I'm certain now that the fissure was an unexpected byproduct of the changes they wrote into this age as part of their machinations to trap me here, and that Atrocious never intended for the book to be lost among the stars in the process. Better that a linking book be destroyed than to risk it falling into unknown hands. Had they foreseen the creation of the fissure, they surely would have sought another solution, as the ensuing cataclysm may well have consumed the entire world had I not managed to intervene. Catherine would never have knowingly taken such a risk, and surely my son, given his own dearth of vertebrae, had only meant for Riven to become my prison and not my tomb. I'm discontinuing regular observation of the expanse beneath the fissure. I have tracked the stars and have proven that their paths are cyclical, but without proper instrumentation there is nothing more I can learn. My theory, however, remains unaltered. The fabric of this age was breached in a way that permits matter to be habitably exchanged between two discrete yet overlapping spaces. Wow, this is a lot to take in, everybody. Yet the attendant paradoxes defy the laws of conventional physics. The great column of wind that formed when the rift first appeared suggests a vacuum, as one might expect in space, yet my early experiments seem to confirm the presence of a breathable atmosphere. That Atrocious momentarily threw himself into the void is further evidence that I might possibly be safe to venture into, but without knowing its true nature, I simply cannot take the risk. It is also difficult to say what would happen were I to reopen the fissure now, but it is highly probable that the results would be disastrous. My hopes have been dashed again. The latest ink formulation has proven to be yet another in a long list of failures. Frustrating to expend so much effort constructing a linking book only to end up destroying it when it refuses to function. So maybe that's what we saw earlier in that little furnace thing, the burnt book. Too often has this lab grown uncomfortably warm by the flames of these never-ending disappointments. Without my reference library back in Dunny, a properly orthodox linking book may simply be beyond my means. But I simply cannot burn another book. There must be another way. So that's insight into why Gehn is so keen on getting back to Dunny. He wants his library so he can write more linking books. Pens of Fate. Late last night, while pondering these interminable setbacks, I went to light my pipe. The fire marble got away from me, however, and rolled across the gateway image of the open book before me. Sorry. This is stop and go. If the consequence of this had not been respectable, I would not have believed my eyes, as the marble left a faint yet definite trail of increased clarity in its wake. The change didn't last long, but it was unmistakable. Repeatable. Okay, that word is repeatable, not what I said, which I can't remember. If I could find a way to boost the energy output of my fire marbles, it might be possible to suppress the variance enough to facilitate a stable link. But how? A spatial anomaly occurred yesterday, about 5 spans above the north shore of Temple Island. A breach of stars, seemingly identical to the one beneath the fissure. It began as a small cloud-like hole, which then commenced to expand in random surges. With some effort, I was finally able to contain it with runic plates, similar to the ones I devised for the fissure. I believe it will hold, but the appearance of a new rift is troubling. And yet, it has also left me with the most uncanny feeling that something fundamental has shifted in my favor. I believe it may be time to give this inexplicable mystery a second look. So I guess that's what we saw at the butterfly area. There was a sort of black hole fissure too. Is that the one he references though, or is it a different one? Because I don't recall seeing any runic plates, but it's a after the fact sort of thing. I would have paid more attention had I known this before, so they might have been there. I have erected a small dome, a pressurized airlock, mounted upon the contained breach. This has allowed me to safely conduct tentative forays into the expanse without subjecting Riven to further invasion and the destruction that was certainly attended. It is bafflingly improbable space, yet surprisingly more accommodating than my initial observations had led me to believe. Breathing is indeed possible within it, yet I cannot say that it is respiration as I'm used to it. Rather, as nonsensical as this is going to sound, it feels at times as if the expanse was breathing me, and in the process imbuing me with a sense of endless possibility. At last, the breakthrough I was hoping for. After my first full day of experiments in the Expanse, I was astonished to discover that the 5 fire marbles in my coat pocket had come to fluoresce. A quick strike test confirmed that their energy levels had increased significantly, and their charge has lasted longer than I would have thought possible. In a clear act of divine providence, the Expanse has given me the final piece of the puzzle, an apparently boundless energy source that should be more than sufficient to rectify my linking books. I must work quickly. 2 more breaches have occurred in the interim, each one more aggressive and difficult to contain than the last. Time, I fear, is running out. The Expanse was breathing me. What exactly is in Gehn's pipe? Those fluorescent mushrooms that we saw earlier, I think. The breach is now number 5, a sure sign that I'm not on the right path. I have connected the domes on each of them via a nexus of pathways, within the Expanse, which will also serve as an inter-island shortcut as I continue my work on my enhanced fire marble complex. The loss of 2 more men yesterday has made it clear that the full spectrum of energy is too great for even my finest fire marbles to contain. So I've decided to break it up into 5 discrete frequency ranges, which will later be recombined for application to the book. I have installed 5 charging stations within the Expanse, each one calibrated to imbue a blank fire marble with a separate bond of the total energy needed, or band. A pneumatic tube system will then convey the charged marbles to the great old dome on Riven for recombination. Freedom is nearly within my grasp. Ooh, that's picture-worthy, I'm sure. Were there other pictures I should have taken? Real quick. No. The problem of how to return to Riven has been settled. Gehn has proven his usefulness over the years, at times nearly rivaling my own engineering prowess. He and his team will have the honor of being the first to link to the new age, bringing with them the necessary materials to build a vastly simplified version of the book apparatus, which I have personally designed. If they do not return within a reasonable amount of time, I will reverse my design and send additional men until they get it right. Should they... What is that? Should they founder? Founder? I'm not aware of that word. Should they founder, however, I am prepared to sacrifice every last man on Riven to continue the effort. This cannot fail. At long last, a viable loop has been established. After an eternity of toil and sacrifice, and an unconscionable preemption of the ages I might have fathered, I finally linked to a new age. So what is this? 9 and 8. 98. This is not a date, is it? Because these are dates. This might be important. Typo should have been flounder. Okay, that makes sense. It is a bleak and barren world, perfectly suited for my purposes. By closely comparing the real with the written, I believe I will soon be able to create a more appropriate age from which to relaunch my mission. For now, however, I will move my office and living quarters there, so that I may safely continue my endeavors without distraction. Although it is but a steep stepping stone, 98 is on an utter triumph. To think that I have accomplished To think that I have accomplished in a matter of years, under extremely adverse conditions, what it took my Dunny ancestors centuries to achieve. I caught one of my assistants thumbing through this journal today. He will certainly never do it again, but I'm glad I chose to write this in a language these people cannot decipher. Was he sacrificed? I get a feeling he was sacrificed. Perhaps it's time I reviewed security measures with each guildmaster. No problems expected from the builders, maintainers, and surveyors, but the bookmakers and educators may need a bit more motivation. More reports of spirit sightings. It seems that under Catherine's leadership, the rebels, or Black Society, is that an S? As the villagers stubbornly insist on referring to them, have attained a new level of sophistication in their tenor tactics, renewing their campaign to intimidate the weak. Renewing their campaign to intimidate the weak-minded into joining them by preying upon their cultural superstitions. I suppose I should be concerned by this, but it strikes me as almost laughable. If the rebels wish to dilute their ranks with demerits, then who am I to stop them? There's a bunch of $5 words in there. Black moiety. Okay. Not Black Society. I like my version better. Chemical analysis of one of the rebel knives has yielded curious results. The metal contains elements that are unlike anything I've encountered on the islands. It appears the rebels have access to a resource that I'm unaware of. Perhaps a mine or an uncharted island. These are the knives we saw, or the daggers. Most of these knives have been found on the south side of the village, the same region that reports of people mysteriously disappearing have emanated from. I think a closer inspection of the area is warranted. The fact that the rebels deliberately leave these distinctive knives is a sign of their presence. As a sign of their presence is concerning. They're growing bolder, as if they no longer fear discovery of their hideout. Recent measurements indicate that the movement of the island has slowed dramatically. My previous estimates predicted a total collapse in approximately 3 months, but with the new figures I'm no longer certain. I have merely finished writing the 99th age, and have every confidence it will be a safe place to relocate to, but it would still be useful to know what has caused a sudden halt in Riven's breakup. Is it possible that the age is stable after all? If so, I must discover how it differs from 98, which has already shown troubling signs of decay, though further tests are needed, and yet, there is something about this that gives me pause. Could it be that someone is attempting to repair the damage to the 5th age at its source? I cannot help but think that the hand of Atrocious is behind this somehow. Okay, we made it through. Wow, that was something. But a lot of good stuff there. And looking at the clock, I am afraid that it is time to end this for today. And it's a good point to end it to do this. We'll investigate this room next time. And I'm sure we're gonna learn way more. And I hope you'll be around with me and enjoy this with me as you have today. Hopefully. So thank you all for joining in. Parker's Solemn Sevier, thank you so much for the follow. I do appreciate it very much. Have a great rest of your day. Hope to see you all again soon with more of Riven. And as we say in Austria, Viert euch, Baba. Und bis bald.